We are wrestling.
Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and you're listening to the We Are Wrestling Podcast. We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Let's flip and go.
You're watching We Are Wrestling.
I'm the host with the most.
You are by far the least intelligent.
What is going on? We are Wrestling Maniacs. Ben here, one half of the We Are Wrestling podcast.
We Are Wrestling Podcast.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie, here with...
What is up? It's your boy Cam. I am the OG co-host of when we used to start this. Sorry, Ben, but I am the special guest today.
Yeah, so unfortunately, guys, the Load Rager, Uncle Ben, he couldn't make it this week because I'm going to be out in Rhode Island for New England Fan Fest on Saturday, which is why the podcast is out on Friday instead of Saturday. But before we dive in to the topics for this week's special episode of the We Are Wrestling Podcast, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, over on the YouTube channel, where you can get lots of exclusive wrestling content over there, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications, videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real.
I think I did that better than Ben.
I don't know about that, but Cam, I gotta ask you, how's everything been? The last time we saw you here on We Are Wrestling was the Royal Rumble stream.
I've been pretty good, Don. What about you? I mean, that Royal Rumble stream was awesome. I mean, it wasn't the best because it was kind of weird with the CM Punk injury.
Our audio was a little off.
Yeah,
too,
I noticed that. And then Roman winning was boring. Then CM Punk got injured, messed up the whole plan for WrestleMania, and now it's just all confused.
Yeah, the road to WrestleMania has been very weird in my opinion, because originally Cody Rhodes, he pretty much gave up his WrestleMania spot for The Rock, and it got a really negative reaction, which we covered a couple weeks ago here on the podcast, and it seems like they pretty much came up with a decision to, give Cody that opportunity to let him finish his story, main event of WrestleMania 40, how it should have been, which I really hope nothing crazy happens before this goes up, because the last couple weeks, we have felt like we've been super behind. We had the crazy press conference that happened.
That was literally awesome, that press conference when The Rock slapped Cody. That was awesome.
Yeah, and that would have been a perfect main event topic on a normal week of the podcast, but of course, we recorded it Thursday before the entire press conference, so we basically talked about our thoughts on the whole hashtag we want Cody, hashtag we want Rocky.
I mean, now that we actually have our main event, but if you're seeing something, if Rock is teaming, I don't think we're getting Rock and Roman at all. I think we're getting Rock and Roman at SummerSlam. And what I think my prediction is, Cody's making friends. Seth has his back, and now he just saved Sammy. And now I think Sammy will have his back too. Because I think when that main event for night 2, Cody will win, but it's gonna be an all-out brawl. Solo's coming in, Roman, Jimmy, and then you're gonna see Jay, Sammy, Seth save Cody, and it's gonna be an all-out brawl.
It's definitely going to be very interesting. There's so many different scenarios that could happen. And we're going to talk about it more throughout this episode because obviously we're on the road to WrestleMania. But before we get into the highlight of the week, I just want to let all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs know that this is out on Friday. So if you're in the Rhode Island area, Warwick, Rhode Island, New England
yes.
Fan Fest 9, I will be there doing a vlog for the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. Probably be doing a toy hunt as well because there is going to be lots of figures and stuff. That'll be over on my personal channel where you can definitely see Cam a lot more.
Yes, I was supposed to attend, but then I had family matters, but I definitely will be at the Wrestling Classic.
Yes, which we will talk about in our next segue. But also, guys, I do want to let you know, next Saturday, February 24th, Ben, the Lone Ranger, Uncle Ben, is waking up bright and early for the WWE Elimination Chamber, doing a live watch-along here, going solo.
He's waking up at 4 a.m.
4:30 a.m. Yes, he is. He's going to make himself some eggs, some bacon, and he's going to have himself a coffee. He's very excited.
Who would do that?
Not me. I
Definitely
love my
not
sleep.
me either.
And I also got to get my sleep because later on that night, Blitzkrieg Pro is going to be having a show in Westfield, Mass. So if you are in the Western Mass area, highly recommend you guys to come out to Blitzkrieg Pro. We Are Wrestling will be there. We're sponsoring the TJ Crawford Blitzkrieg Pro Bedlam Championship match. And there's just a great card. Oh, baby, Heath Slater will be there, and also Allie Ketch, and so many more talented independent wrestlers.
He has kids.
He's got kids, so you gotta come out and support him, if you're in the area. So, with that being said, Cam, let's get into the highlight of the week, which every week, I always ask Ben what his highlight of the week is when it comes to wrestling during the week. So, what's gotta be yours?
So mine, I will say, I just watched the highlights before I came, just because I don't really watch like Dynamite, Rampage, and all that. I try to watch Raw once in a while.
I will say this, Cam. At least you're putting in the effort to watch AEW Dynamite highlights. Ben absolutely despises AEW.
It's hard to watch AEW highlights when, yes, they're getting back on track with Dynamite, but they're not getting back on track with Rampage and Collision. They're just putting random matches. Like they just announced Jeff Hardy versus I forgot who.
Sammy Guevara for
in a
Friday.
in a no disqualification. Like what's that? Like
I don't know
where's
if you saw
the storyline?
I don't know if you saw that video. There's like a video that surfaced because obviously they record the episodes after Dynamite, and apparently Sammy Guevara knocked out Jeff Hardy during I believe it was the Shooting Star Press.
I mean,
landed on his head.
At least that makes sense, but then you have that one women's match that never makes sense. That he just throws two women in the ring and they put on like a 8-minute match. But my highlight of the week, I just watched it. I know I mentioned it to Don. He hasn't watched it, but it was AEW Dynamite, and it was the Texas Death Match between Matt Taven and then freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, and man, that was an awesome match. You definitely have to watch the highlight because that match was insane for the amount of time they put on, because they didn't really put on it for that much, but it was insane. And obviously you probably know who won.
It's definitely AEW is very predictable. Orange Cassidy definitely retained his championship.
I mean, yeah, because they announced he was facing Bryan Danielson so he had to retain. But that match was insane. Matt Taven flying through a table, push tacks were involved, and man, that was an amazing match. And that's the only reason why I like how AEW does that. They make those amazing matches where WWE really doesn't do that. They don't do flying tables. They don't do push pins on the ground and DDT and face first on them. They don't do that, but that was an amazing match.
I always say this. There's a difference between both WWE and AEW.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
AEW, they focus more on the in-ring stuff. They're focusing on professional wrestling. While WWE, on the other hand, is sports entertainment. They're focusing more on the entertainment value and the storylines.
Yeah, but sometimes storylines and entertainment is better than actual
That I agree with 100%.
Because I don't think, like I said, people don't want to just go to a show and just see random matches, which those matches are very good, but they're just random matches. No storylines, no nothing. And WWE's, that's how they're different.
Well, yeah, no, with old school versus new school, which, just came back on We Are Wrestling once a month. Phil and I, during the first episode of the new year, we talked about 5-star matches and finishers, because obviously they lost a lot of, meaning throughout the years. And what I mentioned was, in that episode, was, to me, a 5-star match has to have great storytelling. I know there's a lot of people out there that, really care. They care for the crazy spots, but I feel like they have to have meaning to it, which is why I feel like I'm more of a fan of WWE than AEW because of the storytelling.
And, like, even this generation, this era, we had some storyline 5-star matches. I mean, I don't know if you can agree with me on this one, but that Seth versus Cody in Hell in a Cell.
That was 5-star.
That was
100%.
The 5-star, and it had a storyline.
Exactly.
And that was probably, I could have even put that for match of the year.
100%. So my highlight of the week has got to be this interview that I checked out from Chris Van Vliet's Insight with Matt Riddle. And if you've been a listener to the We Are Wrestling podcast, you guys all know I am not the biggest fan of Riddle.
I wasn't either.
And going into these episodes with Ben and, this week with you, and anytime I'm watching a documentary or something, I always try to go into it with an open mind, because I feel like that's the best way to learn things. And with Matt Riddle, I have just not been a fan of the drama, the politicking, all of the stuff that's happened, within his last couple months in WWE, even during his UFC time with Dana White. I really just didn't like the way he looked at the business and stuff, but I wanted to give it an opportunity. So that's what I did this week. I listened to Insight with Chris Van Vliet, and I gotta say, it was a great interview. I learned a lot about Matt Riddle, and the reason why I wanted to check this out was because Matt Riddle is literally going to be everywhere I'm going for the next couple of months. So right now on the Matt Riddle tracker, let's see. Saturday at the New England Fan Fest, he's going to be there.
Yep.
Then on March 16th, big event New York, he's going to be there as well, which I'll be at. I'll be doing a whole vlog for all of these. Don't worry, guys. Then on the 23rd, that Friday in Webster, Mass., big time wrestling. It's going to be the Bro versus Broski, Battle of the Bros. So Riddle will be there. Then Northeast Wrestling is announcing shows within the next couple weeks, and he'll be at all 3 of them.
Oh my God.
So I can't get away from Bro.
And then the day after Big Time at the Wrestling Classic, he will also be there.
Yes, I did forget that. He will be at the Wrestling Classic as well, which I will be a vendor at.
Yep.
We'll be having a table. We'll be selling We Are Wrestling shirts, merchandise. We'll also be giving away figures and selling them as well. It's going to be a good time. But with, Matt Riddle, I gotta say, the reason why it was my highlight of the week was because I really understand where he's coming from, and I feel like this happens a lot in sports where there's certain people that are outspoken. And I can consider myself outspoken to an extent. And I feel like the media twists things they say a lot.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Similar to NBA star Kyrie Irving. I feel like a lot of the times, his stuff that he says gets twisted around, and then the media turns it into something. CM Punk, that's the best wrestling example I can give you. Remember when he was in AEW, how much hate he got from wrestling journalists and personnels. And I think with Riddle, I just think that a lot of the things he says, they twist it around, and he's just misunderstood. I definitely gained a lot more respect for him going into the interview. Definitely something I highly recommend you and the Maniacs check out.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely will. But I think one thing we both can agree on with Riddle is that I think leaving WWE was his best decision he made.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you on that.
Because now with the talent that WWE has, I don't see him anywhere that fits in, maybe besides for a tag team. but that's about it.
Well, that's the thing about Riddle. I feel like with WWE, it was just always the comedy thing. And with Riddle, if you watched his work in the independents before WWE, everybody knows that he is a former UFC fighter. He has a mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu background. And if you watch his stuff right now outside of WWE, he's doing more serious stuff.
Yeah, and he already made a footprint in independence. He already won. I don't know what that title's called, but he already won a title.
He already won a title.
And
Everybody's winning a title.
But no, I think it was like their World Heavyweight Championship or something, or their main event title. But he already won that, and that was like one of his first 2 independent matches ever since leaving.
Yeah, and plus he's also doing stuff for MLW right now. And I know TNA, they contacted him as well, which right now, as of, this recording, nothing has really came out about that just yet. But Riddle, so far, has been killing it in the indies.
Oh, yeah.
He hasn't really been making any crazy headlines, which is good. I'm just really happy that that's one thing I really love about Chris Van Vliet's interviews, is that he really gets you to understand somebody else's perspective.
Oh yeah, and with him with that Broski match with Matt Cardona, I don't guarantee that's gonna be like a 5-star match.
Oh, it's gonna be a great match.
It's gonna be a great match, and even with the other talent that's gonna be there, because I think I was the one that showed you that event. That show is gonna be stacked.
It's going to be a pretty good show. I've been to a few big-time wrestling shows. They're always fun to go to.
And I contacted the guy, and he said they might still announce people.
Hey, you never know.
So, I mean, they already have Kurt Angle, Teddy Long, and so much more.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, with Matt Riddle, I just got to say, it was a great interview. Highly recommend you guys to go check it out. But with that being said, let's dive into the We Are Wrestling Weekly Recap for the We Are Wrestling Podcast 95. So, our first weekly recap for this week, Cam. Last Friday on SmackDown, a new team was formed. Cedric Alexander and Adonis will be teaming. What's your thoughts on this pair?
I did see like a picture of them together, but I didn't see like the segment. But I mean, good for it. I see that tag team that they could go a long way. I mean, Cedric, I love how they still have him in the company.
I can't believe he's still with the company.
I know, but I think it's for a reason, and I think him teaming up with, or can't pronounce that guy's name. Isn't that the guy that was in Hit Row? Yeah,
Adonis.
That was a great move.
Adonis.
That was a great move. That him and him, they're gonna be awesome together. And if we finally do get the tag team split, like the titles split up, which we need to.
Oh my God, they need to split those titles up. I'm sick of it.
I know this is a hot take, but I think they're gonna lose them at Elimination Chamber, and they're gonna split them up.
Finn Balor and Damian Priest.
Yeah, I think they're losing to Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. I think they're losing, but that's another topic. But I like this tag team. I like how they're forming new tag teams, because I'm telling you, they're forming new tag teams. They have to split these titles up.
That's what I'm saying, because I noticed this, Cam, with the Triple H era. Triple H is starting to put more effort into the tag team divisions, which is why I feel like having just one championship is really harming a lot of these tag teams. I think on SmackDown, Pretty Deadly, they could be a pretty good tag team moving forward.
I like what you did.
Also,
there.
Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, they've been teaming together. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson. Over on the Raw brand, you have DIY, Alpha Academy. So many
DX?
Great tag teams overall, and I feel like having the titles, just one championship, they just need to have one on Raw, one on SmackDown. Like, stop having the champions go over and over, because clearly, like, they're not able to do it consistently.
You know what? One tag team I am digging.
Ooh,
the Awesome Truth.
I'm not, and it's unpopular for me.
You don't like R-Truth?
I love R-Truth. I want him to be a part of the Judgment Day.
Did you see
not
that?
with the Miz.
Did you see that segment he had with DIY?
Yes, I did. He called him.
He called him DX.
I love R-Truth, but I want him to be with the Judgment Day so bad because I feel like it has the potential of being as good as Sammy with the Bloodline.
But I don't know. I mean, if Judgment Day does continue their title reign to WrestleMania and we get Miz and R-Truth versus Judgment Day for the tag team titles, I think they could win.
Oh, they definitely can get the win. Like, I'm not totally against Miz and R-Truth, but I'd rather R-Truth be with the Judgment Day. But honestly, there's a lot of great tag teams overall, which is why I like what Triple H is doing here, because if he doesn't have a plan for you in the mid-card division for like the IC or the US, or even, the World Championship, then he's going to have you be paired with somebody.
And he's going to pair you with someone that's like that person or good. It's not going to be like when we did have Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. Like,
it's similar
similar
wrestling backgrounds.
Yeah, it won't be like that. Like, these two guys are perfect pair for each other.
Exactly, like Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne.
Oh,
they both have the same style wrestling as well. Yep. Have that strong style, which works. And I like how Cedric and Adonis, they're both high flyers.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to make a fun tag team as well, which I got to say, I am not against this at all. Both of these guys, they've been hanging out and catering for a little too long. I feel like might as well pair them up, give them some TV time, let them compete in the tag division. You can either have them, put people over, or you can put them over. However, you want to do it. I just think that this gives them an opportunity to show what they could do.
Oh, yeah.
They're both very talented, especially Cedric Alexander. Never understood why we broke up Hurt Business to begin with. But at least he's still in WWE. At least he's going to get an opportunity here with Adonis. And I think that they're going to make a pretty fun pair.
Oh, yeah. But with that, even though they broke up the Hurt Business, they just put a more dominant faction at Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
AOP with Bobby Lashley, that's dominant.
Yeah, Street Profits and Bobby Lashley,
Oh, yeah.
I think is a pretty good.
Who's AOP with?
That's Carrion. That's
the
Testament.
Yeah. Those two.
God, I love the Testament.
Oh my God, those two functions and teams. I can see a WrestleMania match.
Yeah, that's a real possibility there. I think Chamber probably, realistically, we can get that match.
Yeah, but Chamber's already becoming more and more stacked.
Yeah.
Hey. How many more matches they can put on Chamber?
I don't know. You never know. But then again, Mania, there's only so many matches you could do too.
Yeah, but they got 2 nights.
You are right about that. I can't argue that. But moving on now to our next weekly recap. This past Monday on Raw, Seth Rollins wanted to be in Cody Rhodes' side against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. What's your thoughts on this segment?
I did watch it, and I think it was an awesome segment. I didn't watch your reaction, but it was an awesome segment. And what Seth said is 100% true. He hates Roman. He hates The Rock. And if it was another guy to beat them up, it would be him.
I will say, I really like this. The only thing that I'm questioning here is, how is Seth Rollins going to have Cody's back when he's got to defend his championship night 1 of WrestleMania?
If Seth defends his championship night 1, I mean, we don't know who he's facing.
Oh, I already got the script. It's going to be a triple threat match. We're getting Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins for the title.
Why do you think that? Sami already lost his spot in the Chamber.
Hey, if you notice on Monday Night Raw the last couple of weeks, they've been trying to build Sami Zayn back up as an underdog. He's been talking about how he wants to win the championship in the sit-down interviews with, I believe her name's Jackie. Could be wrong. I don't really know. Really don't care. But also, Drew McIntyre right now, his character work is the best.
Oh, he's awesome, but...
And I think that Drew McIntyre right now is making a legitimate case that he should be the world champion. And what better way than to put him over in the Chamber match, put him in the match at WrestleMania against Rollins. But the reason why I think Sami could get in there is because we've already gotten Drew versus Seth so many times.
Oh, yeah,
and I think adding Sami Zayn to it would make a lot of sense because obviously Sami Zayn and Drew, they have history. Sami wants the gold as well. And there's a way that they could do this, I think. And you have to realize, they want their big stars to be on the card at WrestleMania. What's Sami going to do that's not this?
That is true. Which I just would like to see how they put Sami into this triple threat. Because a lot of people were, at first thought it was going to be The Rock and Cody and Roman in a triple threat, which that was never going to happen.
No, that wasn't happening.
And with all these rumors going around that it's going to be Seth and Cody versus Rock and Roman, I don't think that's happening either.
No, here's what I was going to say about that. I feel like the Chamber, like, if Rollins wasn't hurt, because obviously they want to keep him healthy until WrestleMania, I would have done the tag match.
Oh, yeah,
I would have done it
100%.
at the Chamber, because that would have been a perfect way to continue this road to WrestleMania, add so much more to it. But Roman doesn't want to show up to work. We already know.
Oh, yeah, that's why Seth said he finally showed up to work in his press conference. But I would love to see how they involve Sami. Like, I have seen the interviews with Sami saying he wants to be a main event, and he is a main event guy, and he was right. He should have beat Roman Reigns.
There's so many people that should have beat Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah, but I would have
goodness.
loved to see him win the title, because that was an awesome storyline with the Bloodline and how he turned his back on the Bloodline, just like Seth Rollins did. And I love how they went like that with the chair in the back, but they should have had Sami win that match.
Yeah, but hey, I do want to give my thoughts on this, and this segment was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I have been very sick and tired of Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship title run for the last couple of months, and let me just say this. After the Royal Rumble, these promos that he's been cutting the last 3 weeks have been on a whole nother level. This, Seth Rollins, this is the Rollins I've been waiting for. This side of him, where there's no filter, Rollins is just going to say it like it is, and it's genuine. You can tell when Seth Rollins is reading a script compared to him really feeling what he's saying. It's coming from the heart.
Oh, yeah.
Everything he's saying.
This last scene came from the heart, especially when you mentioned the
And
Shield.
this is why I think that this right now, in my opinion, is easily the segment of the year so far. Seth Rollins' promo this past Monday was perfect. Chef's kiss. Everything about that was perfect because obviously we know Seth Rollins and Cody. They have never seen really eye to eye throughout, the second run for Cody. And I love the fact that Rollins brought up Cody's dad, trying to finish the story, making him proud. You can tell Rollins wants Cody to finish the story.
And if he doesn't, then there's going to be...
It's getting done. The story is going to get finished.
But I could see if Seth Rollins does heal and he's not if he's fully 100%, even if he loses.
Yeah, I did read some comments, and that is the comment of the week this week.
So, but this is good transitioning into the comment.
Oh no, we can't yet.
Okay,
comments is after all of this.
Okay. But if Seth is fully healthy and 100%, I could easily see Cody and Seth versus Roman and Rock at SummerSlam. If they're trying to build up Roman and Rock for next year's WrestleMania, that would be the perfect way to do it at SummerSlam.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I feel like...
I think...
Realistically, what's going to happen here, at some point, The Rock, he's going to interfere. Turn. He's going to try to help Roman, except Cody's going to kick out at 2. Roman's going to get frustrated to the point where he's going to blame The Rock, and then The Rock's going to hit him with the rock bottom, and I think Cody's going to finish the story. And then I think going into WrestleMania 41... it's going to be Roman versus Rock, and we're going to get a whole year build.
We can get a whole year build, but I could also see this. This match doesn't have to be at Mania. I could see it at SummerSlam. And many people...
SummerSlam would be a really good place for this to happen.
This would be probably the best place for SummerSlam. To build up SummerSlam, that... I don't see any other way they could build up SummerSlam. Because they can build up WrestleMania easily because you have the Royal Rumble winner of the women and men, so they can build that up. But to build SummerSlam up, this is the way to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that they could do this, but we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
It's about the waiting game. And actually, I think you forgot to add this in there. What about that Triple H segment on SmackDown?
The Elimination Chamber.
How he
Taking the
his
shots at The Rock. So at first, when I did watch that, I will say this. I thought that Triple H was kind of teasing a match with The Rock at WrestleMania.
Everyone's thinking that right now.
Yeah, and there's already reports that came out, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that apparently Triple H is not getting back in the ring, but obviously anything that's news and rumors, you always have to take with a pinch of salt, because nothing's confirmed until it actually happens.
Which, to be honest, if he could be hiding it, all we know. He could be...
Yeah, but he just got a whole new pacemaker into his heart. He had a heart attack, Triple H.
Yeah, I saw that too. But
that's the big thing. Like, does Triple H want to get back in the ring for one more match?
Oh, I think after that promo and segment, I think he 100% wants to. And he wants...
I feel like they're gonna get him involved some way. I feel like The Rock and Roman will attack him at some point throughout this. Maybe it happens
next week,
later on tonight on SmackDown.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We have SmackDown coming up.
So we really don't know what's gonna happen, and it's gonna be very interesting to see. I think, if Triple H feels confident and feels comfortable getting back in the ring, going against The Rock, by all means, I'm okay with it. But Triple H obviously, just got over a really scary incident that happened, I believe it was a couple years ago.
Yeah, but I could see it happen. I could even see Triple H even hitting a pedigree on Roman or even The Rock. But him taking shots at Rock, he did that for a reason. And I think The Rock's going to answer back, obviously, on SmackDown. I think he's going to give an answer, and we're going to find out. We're going to find some answers on Friday night.
Yeah, and we're just going to have to wait and see. But moving on now to our next weekly recap on NXT. Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker defeated Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks for the NXT Tag Team Championships. What's your thoughts on this?
I saw the recap, too, on that. That could easily be a 5-star match. That was an amazing match. The crowd was so into it. Crowd was chanting holy, and they're chanting NXT, NXT. This is what NXT is about. And
they have brought back the identity for NXT a lot
They
more.
did. NXT has turned, and NXT has been, I could honestly say NXT has been better than AEW Rampage or Collision. Because they've been putting storylines, and this tag match was incredible.
Didn't they win some type of Dusty Rhodes?
Oh, yes. They won the
Dusty
Rhodes
shot?
Classic to get this title shot, and they beat Carmelo and Trick. But to put Baron Corbin over, he hasn't. I love how he posted on Instagram.
6 years, right?
He hasn't held a gold in WWE for 6 years, and he finally did. And I think this was the way. Baron Corbin, ever since he went to NXT, was the best decision he's ever made.
100%, because that man was getting lost in the shuffle with the whole Happy Corbin thing.
Oh yeah, Happy Corbin. Then he went to Broke Corbin, and then
I liked Broke Corbin, but obviously the best Baron Corbin was obviously
the
Lone Wolf.
And he's literally bringing that back with NXT. He's coming in on his entrance was
with the motorcycles,
and even Braun Breaker came in on the motorcycle too,
I saw that on the last takeover that they'd had.
They
both came out.
It wasn't takeover. It was Vengeance Day. Yeah, and I love how they're bringing back those pay-per-views with NXT.
Me too. It's good nostalgia.
It
gets
is.
people
And
talking.
And NXT is high right now with that whole Carmelo Hayes showing on Trick.
That stuff is incredible.
That's incredible. Now Braun Breaker's going up to WWE, but he just won the title.
And that's where I kind of want to stop you, because I'm happy for Baron Corbin. First time in 6 years getting a championship. I'm glad he's starting to find his mojo again. His confidence is getting back. But with Braun Breaker, I just see so much potential with this whole main roster thing that they're doing, teasing him as a free agent, That's why, for me, it doesn't really make sense that he's winning NXT Tag Gold with Baron Corbin, when on the main roster, he hasn't even been seen with Corbin.
No, but this is to put him over. If he has the tag champion, he's going to one brand and NXT, that's putting him over.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like
And Braun
we
Baker
need to
is that guy.
I don't know. I feel like Braun Breaker just needs to get to the main roster. He's done
he
everything
will.
in NXT.
He will, and he will be a part of WrestleMania, 100%. I could see him just calling shots out at one guy, or one guy having an open challenge, and he accepting.
Well, here's what I predicted for WrestleMania.
I think we all predicted.
I think this past Monday on Raw. I think this coming Monday, Gunter's going to retain the title from Jay. Jimmy's going to interfere. And I think we're going to get Gunter versus Braun Breaker, because that's going to be the way that Raw gets Breaker. That's going to be their negotiation. Because if you remember back when Randy Orton came back, Aldis and Pierce were both trying to convince Randy to go to their brand. So you heard Adam Pearce tell him, hey, if you come to Raw, I'll give you a World Heavyweight Championship title shot. But Aldis's pitch was, I can give you the guy that took you out, Roman Reigns.
And that's what Randy wanted.
But now, let's get back into Braun Breaker now. I think what's going to happen is Pierce, to try to get him over to the Raw brand, he's going to give him a shot at Gunter for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, and I think that's what's going to get Breaker to the Raw brand.
That could be a possibility, but I have different thoughts. I think this Monday, I think Jay's beating Gunther.
I'm not going to be mad if that happens.
And
Jay
I saw
right
a comment under it about it being announced, and a comment said that we need to start seeing title changes on the weekly shows, not just the pay-per-views. And I totally agreed with that statement. We have to.
I can't argue that.
We have to see it tunes people in, and like we don't. It could go both ways.
Plus, too, Gunter, even though I've enjoyed these last 600 days of his championship run, he's brought this, championship prestige.
He already did what he was supposed to do.
Exactly. He already did what he's supposed to do. We need to get him into the world title picture, probably after WrestleMania.
I could see that.
Jay right now is very over, so putting the IC title on him wouldn't be a bad idea.
Would be the best decision. And
then you could have Jimmy go after him for the IC. That makes sense.
That's what people said. And what another under that comment was, we have to see new champions and stop having these champions try to break these records. Because I'm sick of it.
I'm sick of records too. I'm with you on that.
Like, I totally agreed with that comment. I'm like, we have to see title changes on SmackDown and Raw. Not these women's tag team champions switching on SmackDown, but we need to see an actual title switch, and it would get people to tune in, not just on a pay-per-view, because, we might get one title change, or we might, like Roman. We knew we weren't getting any title changes with Roman.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, the record thing is just getting very old. It's becoming very repetitive, and I'm really just not a fan of it. But I will say, good for Baron Corbin getting over.
100%.
I like what they're doing with these guys, but at the same time, I'm ready for Braun Breaker to go to the main roster and take that next step in his career.
And I totally agree with that, but I would like to see that Braun Breaker or the Wolf Dogs versus Judgment Day.
Yeah, that would be a fun match, definitely. But moving on now to our next weekly recap. This past Wednesday on Dynamite, it was announced for AEW Revolution, Takeshita will be facing Will Ospreay. What's your thoughts on that matchup?
I'll let you say most of it, because I haven't been paying attention to those two. Like, I knew Will Ospreay signed to AEW, but obviously we haven't seen him ever since he signed, because I think he still had that contract, right?
Yeah, so with Will Ospreay, he just finished up finished up his contract with New Japan.
That's why we haven't seen him
during the latest pay-per-view.
That's why we haven't seen him. But I think they're saying something about the Don Callis family, and this is why they're doing this match. I think I heard something like that.
Yeah, there's something involved with the Callis family, because Ospreay is a part of the family, so they're probably trying to... Because I know Takeshita, he's been very over as of late. He beat Kenny Omega twice.
Which that shouldn't have happened.
And he's also beaten Chris Jericho as well. And Takeshita has picked up a lot of momentum, and it's about time we're putting him in these big matches, because I do have to say, those were great decisions having Kenny put Takeshita over, because I think that with established stars, if you want to create new stars, you have to put them over. And I think Takeshita is very over right now, but he lost a lot of momentum by just putting him in random tag matches against, Jericho.
Oh, yeah,
and
100%.
Guevara. So
That's
I'm happy
AEW
that
for ya.
he's actually getting a pay-per-view match against one of the best.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that this is going to be the way that Ospreay's going to win, and I think the Callis family, they're going to turn on him.
I could see that. And it'll be a great match for sure. Like, AEW does put on great matches. I like how this one has kind of a little storyline.
There is a little bit of storyline to it, which is why, I'm not against it.
But I think there should just been more build up to it, and this match shouldn't have happened at Revolution. It should have, once he got out of his contract, let him show up to some Dynamites, have him with the family, and have it build up. Because now it's just...
Hey, they do still have another week.
They do, but you really can't build up in a week, so...
You never know. You never know. That's all I gotta say, because there's been a lot of times where these go-home shows have swayed me.
Oh, yeah.
And these go-home shows, sometimes they make it work. A last-minute match. And they actually get you very invested in it.
And I don't see any more I know they got how many weeks left? Couple more weeks?
You have a couple more weeks since the beginning of March. Revolution.
But they already have 6 matches. I don't know how many more they can do. Because that's usually what WWE does for a pay-per-view. They do 6.
Oh, AEW does 12.
Which,
usually.
That's another problem.
That's a whole nother topic for another week. But another match that was officially announced this past Wednesday on Dynamite for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, Darby Allin and Sting will be defending their titles against the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas. How you feel about this matchup?
I think they shouldn't have been Sting's last opponents. And a lot of people have agreed with me.
Ben has said that too.
They shouldn't have been. They just put themselves into the picture. And yeah, they beat... that last promo they had on, what was it, yesterday?
Dynamite.
Yeah, because today, yeah. Dynamite is... They didn't really put on a good promo. They beat one tag team and they just automatically declared themselves the best tag team. You can't do that. They're like, oh, we're undefeated in this year, but they really haven't beat anyone.
Well, the Young Bucks, their new character change.
I do not like their new character. They should have stayed the Young Bucks.
I know why they're doing it. They're doing it for controversy. They're doing it for people that start talking. I think it has a lot of potential to make some noise in the pro wrestling world. But right now, it hasn't made that noise.
No.
And I think it's not going to make that noise until we see what happens at Revolution.
And with this match, people are saying it could go either way. And I think Steen's not losing his last match. He didn't.
I don't know. A lot of them old school people.
I know.
Cam. A lot of these old school people, usually when they retire, they do put the other guy over.
Yeah, but I think Steen's not losing.
I don't know. I think Young Bucks are gonna win the titles.
I think they're gonna win. Steen's retiring, and Steen has another partner lined up for Darby.
That's never thought about that.
I think Steen has another partner lined up for Darby. That's how what MJF did. He was fighting 1-on-2, and Samoa Joe.
Oh yeah, and then he had people. Oh, I hate that shit. I hope
but
that doesn't happen.
I think Steen has a partner for Darby lined up.
Yeah, anything can happen. I think Young Bucks are going to win because them getting the championships and some type of controversy, especially on a special night for, Sting. I think it's just going to really create a lot of buzz, and it's going to get them more hate, which is what they want, because that's how this whole new EVP character thing is going to work. They need to get as much heat as possible. They need to really piss the crowd off, which apparently it's working because nobody wants them to face. Nobody wants the Young Bucks versus Sting and Darby.
No.
But I will say this. A lot of people have their opinions about the Young Bucks, and I said this to Ben a few weeks ago here on the podcast. But when it's all said and done, they are Probably one of the most safest tag teams to work with.
Oh yeah, and I love that little Darby promo he put on after that match, and he mentioned Cody too.
I love that.
That was pretty cool.
Loved it. But up next, we have the comment of the week. And of course, the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. We'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast 95.
Hey everybody, it's Hall of Famer Devon Dudley here. And when I'm not putting people through tables or testifying, I am listening to one of the greatest podcasts in the world. We Are Wrestling Podcast. Check it out. Testify.
Are you looking for wrestling content? Well, We Are Wrestling provides everything pro wrestling. The best one, Donnie, Gins, and the Load Rager Ben, are wrestling marks like you who love this sport. We Are Wrestling has it all when it comes to wrestling content. We have different podcasts, vlogs, reactions, full wrestling matches, live pay-per-view watch-alongs, interviews, predictions, and so much more. Only on We Are Wrestling. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and become a We Are Wrestling Maniac now. We're back, and every week here on the We Are Wrestling Podcast, we do this thing called the Comment of the Week. If you want to get your comment featured on a future episode of the We Are Wrestling Podcast, all you gotta do is just leave a comment, either on our social media or the YouTube page. And this week, our comment of the week is from Nate's Fan 3114. And this was on the Seth Rollins segment reaction video, which you can check out over on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel. I do reactions to all the weekly wrestling shows. He said this, and I quote, "When Seth said Shield, I immediately thought of how it ended with Rollins hitting Roman with the chair. So I personally think when it's all said and done, Seth will turn on Cody and return to the brotherhood of his days in the Shield." What's your thoughts on that comment of the week? That take?
It's a pretty good take, but I don't see it happening. Because even if it does happen, they'd be on different brands. So I don't see it happening at all. Because if Cody does win, he will be on SmackDown and Seth's still on Raw. So if he smacks him with a chair, that's because there's no way Cody can go back to Raw.
Not happening. Not happening. Cody Rhodes is finishing his story.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Nate's Fan 31145678910. It's not happening.
Wow, you
Cody
can count.
is finishing the story. Rollins is not turning on Cody because once he loses his championship, he will be taking some time to recover. So
Yes.
why are we going to open up those can of worms? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Cody's going to finish the story. He's going to be the face of SmackDown, while Rollins is still on Raw, probably going to be having feuds with CM Punk once they both come back, and he's going to be probably doing stuff with Drew McIntyre and other people. So we're not getting Rollins and Cody. We already been there. We've done that. So I don't see it happening, but you never know.
The only way it happens would be at next year's Survivor Series.
You just never know, and I think that it would be a horrible booking decision if they do that. Because Rollins is still very over with the crowd, so don't fix something that's not broken.
Triple H isn't Tony Khan.
And you got to listen to the fans. And I think the fans, they love Rollins right now, so why are we going to turn him heel? There's no logical reason to do that. But congratulations to Nate's... Well, I need to check the name again. Sheesh.
It's Nate's Fan.
Nate's Fan 3114. Congratulations on the comment of the week. If you want to get your comment featured on a future comment of the week segment, all you got to do is just leave a comment. It's pretty easy.
Pretty simple.
So with that being said, let's dive in now to the We Are Wrestling weekly news and rumors. Starting things off. This free agent has been mentioned several times here on the We Are Wrestling podcast. New Japan Pro Wrestling star Okada to WWE isn't happening anymore. According to Fightful, Okada is expected to sign with AEW and start there soon. What's your thoughts on this?
I'll let you say most of it because I really don't know. I don't know most New Japan guys. I'm like Pat McAfee. I only know one, and that's Shinsuke. But I think it's great that he's going to AEW because that's where all the New Japan guys are. So I think he can build matches with those other New Japan guys and have put on 5-star matches with them, or even team with them. But I think it's a great move that he's going to AEW instead of WWE.
Yeah, so here's why I'm so mad at you, Ben, for not being here this week. Because Ben, when the reports came out that Okada was set to go to WWE, Ben absolutely blasted AEW, saying, oh, there must be a problem with the working relationship with New Japan and AEW because Okada's going to WWE, which, that's the thing, guys, when we do these news and rumors, I always want to let you guys know that take everything we're saying with a pinch of salt, because anything can change at any given time until it happens. And I definitely think that this is the more realistic route for a guy like Okada,
100%.
who is a walk-in 5-star match. He's headlined Tokyo Domes. And when I saw the reports of him going to NXT, it was fun to fantasize, but come on now. Okada's not going to want to go to NXT. He's going to want to immediately go to the main roster.
He wants to go to AEW Rampage.
And with AEW, especially now that it seems like they found the route that they want to go with, going into more of this, pretty much this professional wrestling route, focusing more, like treating pro wrestling like a combat sport, similar to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Seems like they're going more down that route since we got the Continental Classic, and I think Okada just is a way better fit with that style of wrestling than sports entertainment, which I think is okay.
Yes, I agree with that.
And I think that he will be showing up at Big Business in Boston, because if you do look at the graphic, and I mentioned this, that Okada to AEW could happen at this event because everybody says Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks is showing up, which we all know is going to happen. But if you look at the graphic, there's a money sign. And with Okada, he's also the Rainmaker.
Well, also, there's a money sign because big business means money.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think a lot of people are, they keep just thinking it's Mercedes Moné because obviously with the money symbol with her, it makes sense. But it also would make sense for Okada as well. But man, I think that this is a great move for AEW. I think WWE, they're not really losing much here because obviously they have NXT, they can develop stars. So they're really not missing out on much. I think that this is a huge signing, though, for AEW, because they definitely could use somebody like him, especially with a lot of the dream matches that we can get. Him versus Bryan Danielson one more time, Omega, Ospreay, MJF.
The list goes on.
So many people. The list goes on. But I'm really happy with this news. So fuck you, Ben, and all the AEW haters out there. There's still hope. I am still holding on to that hope. But moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors. Solo SIKOA got one of the biggest wins of his career against John Cena at WWE Crown Jewel. Since then, on SmackDown, he's been 0-5, and at house shows 0-18, total losing 23 matches in a row. What's your thoughts on the booking for Solo SIKOA as of late?
Horrible. Solo could be in the title picture. He could be after the US title. It could be after the IC title. He's easily a guy who can hold a championship.
I gotta ask you something. So, I want to know, do you think WWE needs another mid-card title for both Raw and SmackDown?
If they keep, I could
with the amount of superstars that we have right now.
I could see one mid-card title for both companies, just one, and that championship goes from Friday to Raw, so we don't see like these same matches and the same people come in and going into it, and we get to see Raw.
So they like
and-
They
Yes.
pretty much alternate on both.
So
brands.
they can go to both brands and defend the title. I could see another championship going into WWE as a mid-card.
At least on the Raw brand, because it is 3 hours. I
But they're-
could definitely see that.
Yeah, but I could see another title. With
I think we
mid-card.
need another title, man.
Definitely.
There's so much talent right now.
But with Solo,
we're in a boom period.
Solo losing is they're making him look bad. He's not. He's a beast. He's probably the toughest member in the bloodline. Not
100%.
not counting like The Rock or anything. But he's probably the toughest member. And he's like
That Samoan Spike, they've protected
Yeah.
for this long.
and he needs to leave the bloodline. And he has to do a solo, no pun intended, a solo run in WWE. And he has to go after. He could easily Logan Paul versus Solo. That would easily be a great match.
Yeah, but we getting Logan in LA for Mania. 100%.
But I know the rumors is they might have LA win Chamber.
I don't think so. That would be kind of cool, but
I don't see it
know.
either. But Solo has to leave the bloodline.
Yes, that I agree with. I feel like, man, the Bloodline has lost so much fucking momentum. Ever since WrestleMania, when everybody wanted Cody to finish the story, they lost so much momentum here. Like, with Jimmy Uso, it made perfect sense for him to turn on Roman. You could have turned him into a star right there, but then instead, they had him cost Jay the match against Roman.
Jimmy can't be a star.
But Jimmy had the potential in that
100%. But
now, what are they doing with Jimmy now?
This bloodline, they messed up.
They fucked up.
Yes.
That's the better term.
Well, I didn't know we were allowed to say that. But they did. And
It's
with this Jimmy turning on the bloodline and now he's back into it.
and like they're
That
treating him
was
as a
stupid.
joke.
That was
He's just
stupid.
walking around. No yeet.
He's walking around.
I'm the quarterback.
He's trying to walk around trying to dab people up. Then he gets punched in the face.
No yeet. Like it's all stupid.
Like he's the worst member of the bloodline.
But here's the thing though. Look at the
Jay.
difference between Jay and Jimmy.
Jay has
That's
the
why
crowd over, and he is gonna win a singles championship.
Jay is better than Jimmy.
And I get why Jimmy is still with Roman, because if Jimmy left Roman, he would go nowhere.
I disagree.
I don't see him. I mean, yeah, he might have one U.S. title run or something like that, but I don't see him going far in the long run.
I disagree because they had the perfect opportunity when he super kicked Roman, and they could have really picked up a lot of momentum, similar to Jey Uso right now. But instead, we're not doing that. Jimmy, like now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, they already fucked up. He's gonna be He's gonna be wrestling on Main Event now.
He could be wrestling
Hot
on
take.
that WWE Speed.
Yep, he's gonna be wrestling on WWE Speed.
But they messed up, but I could see why they didn't make Jimmy turn, because I don't think they wanted to do Jay and Roman feud, and they didn't want to just do another Jimmy versus Roman feud.
It makes sense what they did, but just treating Jimmy as a joke, that's not helping him.
Oh no, but it needs to be Jay versus Jimmy.
Yes, we need that.
And they
need that.
fucked up in the Rumble.
Yes, I am not the only person that thinks that. Wow, because here's the thing.
1 and 2, that was perfect.
But they never did anything throughout the match.
That
was my problem.
They had their nice 30-second little thing when they first started Rumble,
and then we never saw anything of them again.
Like none of them eliminated each other.
They barely even
they barely even touched.
I agree with you on that. Wow. And I never said that either, so I got to give you that. That's yours. That's your take.
That's when they messed up. And now, I don't blame it if we don't get Jimmy versus Jay, because they had their opportunity.
And they fucking blew it.
And, I mean, if they listen to the crowd, maybe they'll get it, because that's what they did with Cody. But
yeah, the only way I see it happening is if Jimmy costs Jay this match, or if Jimmy attacks Jay when he wins the title.
If Jimmy doesn't attack Jay, then we're not getting Jimmy versus Jay at Mania.
I agree. But now, getting back into Solo SIKOA, I want to give my thoughts now on this losing streak. you had one of the greatest of all time, John Cena, put this man
over.
And
Now he's losing to jobbers.
he's losing to everybody. 23 matches this man has lost. And, like, this is why the Bloodline, this is why Roman Reigns is losing so much more credibility every week.
Yes.
Like, with the Bloodline, it was so entertaining, in my opinion, when Sami Zayn was a part of it, when Jay was a part of it. There was more storylines on top of the championship with Roman.
Ever since LA Knight and Randy and AJ came in to this Bloodline feud, it's been horrible.
It's been horrible. I think after Jay versus Roman, it's just really lost a lot of momentum.
I don't know if Sammy and Roman was before that or after, but
it was before. That was at Chamber, and then WrestleMania. We had the tag team titles when Sammy and Kevin won.
Jay versus Roman, when was that?
That was SummerSlam.
Okay, so but after that, exactly like what he said, this Bloodline has been awful, and now they're trying to fix it with The Rock, because that's why
I like the pairing with The Rock and Roman. That's the only thing I'm liking right now.
That's why
The
Rock is pairing up with Roman to fix the Bloodline, because they know they fucked up.
But I feel like Solo Sikoa, man, he's got to start picking up more wins. I feel like he's just losing more opportunities as time goes by. It's not making him or Jimmy look good. Like, hopefully things change.
Like, turn Solo and Jimmy into a tag team, for God's sake.
Yeah, at this point, that's better than having a job.
If they split the titles, they could be a dominant tag team on SmackDown.
But what they could be doing, too, is putting Solo into another storyline with a Randy Orton or an AJ Styles. There you go. At WrestleMania, you could put Solo Sikoa, who had a lot of potential when you clearly had Cena put him over. You could have set him up at WrestleMania against Styles or Orton, and that would have put him over even more. But how can you put him on WrestleMania when he's lost 23 matches?
Solo won't be a part of WrestleMania unless he interferes in the main event, which he will.
Oh, he's going to be involved in the main event, but with Solo, it seemed like they had a route that they were going. At some point, I even thought that Solo was going to turn on Roman, and we were going to get that.
They messed that up. They had so many opportunities where Roman got mad at Solo, and vice versa, and they gave the ugliest look. And we thought next week it's going to happen, or next pay-per-view was going to happen, and never did.
All I know is Roman Reigns' title run is really starting to affect those in the Bloodline.
I'm telling you.
And that's all I got to say.
WrestleMania or SummerSlam, after WrestleMania or SummerSlam, there's going to be no Bloodline.
I hope not. I hope it's after WrestleMania. It's time to move forward. Moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors. We kind of made a joke about it during the Solo Sikoa topic. WWE Speed is going to be a new thing in WWE. It was announced during the WrestleMania kickoff. How do you feel about this WWE Speed thing?
They
tested it a few months ago, and then we never really heard about it after
I want to see how it plays out. So far I'm not the biggest fan, because what can you do in a 5-minute match? Not much. Like, if they're trying to bring back something, what they should have brought back was the mixed tag team matches. Because people like those.
Cruiserweights.
They should have just brought back those, Cruiserweight division, the mixed match between, like, the female and men versus each other, people like that. But I don't know how I feel about the WWE Speed. Like, I thought it was going to be a new pay-per-view. Like, I thought it was a new pay-per-view at first. I mean, they got Fastlane, so we'll just keep the speed up.
I will say, though, with WWE Speed, the only thing that I can say that's a positive about this is it kind of has potential in 2024.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, no, here's why I say it has a little bit of potential in 2024. Because we're living in a time where we're all addicted to this right here.
Yep.
Our, smartphones and technology.
Computers, laptops.
And the more technology is growing, especially the YouTube platform, a lot of the content these days is short content.
Yes.
With TikTok and Instagram Reels and Facebook.
Yep.
A lot of the content is shorter clips. And I feel
agree
like
with
with WWE Speed, that's the idea behind it is let's do a shorter form of content for people that have short attention spans, which is pretty much this generation.
Oh, yeah. And I think people like that.
So there's potential there.
Yeah. And I could see it. I mean, then they don't have to put 5-minute matches on SmackDown or Raw. They put on the Speed. And also to build people up that don't get TV time on Raw or SmackDown, they will get on the Speed.
Yep, Tozawa, he's going to be the first Speed champion.
And I could see them having a Speed champion.
That would be kind of cool.
And it'd be like our little race car or something.
Yeah.
A tire.
It's a championship with the tire on it. I like
circle.
that. All right, moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors. What's funny is, like, we flew through that WWE Speed segment. That was pretty fast. No pun intended.
I mean, we have a lot of no puns intended this week.
But moving on, Dustin Rhodes, AEW star, pulls back from retirement. Recently, on the Sports Guy Talking Wrestling, he was asked about when he plans to retire from the ring and said this. Before I tell you what he says, the reason why they probably asked him about this was because last year around this time, he teased that he was going to be retiring. So here's what he said, and I quote, "Last year, I said I have 1 year left, and I'm going to pass that. I don't want to say that again because you never say never, but I see myself 4 more years, if my legs allow me to. If Tony Khan is gracious enough to keep me around and keep me on television, that's great. Whatever I could do to help, but I love producing too. That's also what I could fall back on. So there's a lot of things going on here." What's your thoughts about Dustin Rhodes not hanging up the boots just yet?
I mean, he still has it. That match he put on for the TNT Championship, that was amazing. That was a great match for how old he is. He put on a great match. And to be honest, I think he should leave AEW and go back to WWE.
Yep, I agree with you.
And if...
right now, with this whole finishing the story with
WrestleMania and him showing up at WrestleMania,
there's so many ways that they could do this. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I hate Roman Reigns' title run, and I might get a little criticism for this, but I wouldn't hate the idea of Dustin Rhodes costing Cody the main event of WrestleMania.
Oh, I could see that
because
too.
of jealousy.
But
because we saw the potential with Cody and Dustin with, the very first match that they had on AEW, the blood match there. Blood and guts.
And he was old at that time, and that match was amazing.
That was a great 5-star match.
He can still put on 5-star matches.
I'd love for him to go back to WWE.
Oh, yeah. And he just announced his new little, wrestling camp thing or something.
Yeah, he's been having a wrestling camp for the last couple of years.
He still has it. He's one of those old superstars who can still produce matches and still be in the ring for 20 minutes.
That I can't argue with. I think Dustin Rhodes, this is a good decision. He has been on AEW more often. I remember, seeing him at AEW World's End against Swerve when Keith Lee couldn't make it.
That was a great match, too.
And I think with Dustin, he definitely, right now in his career, is in the perfect position to put people over. But I rather would see him in WWE because I want to see what they would do with him and Cody on a bigger stage.
We need Goldust back and we need Stardust back.
No, we do not need Stardust back.
But I love how they still have Dustin's character with the stripes and the face paint. I love how they still have.
Oh, the last ride thing. I love that. I love everything about.
I love how
this
he's not
run.
changed and he's just he still wrestles with face paint on, even though it's not his whole face. It's still half of it, and he's still, because that's his character. I would not. It would be weird to see Dustin Rhodes wrestle in different clothes and no face paint.
Yeah, he's just pretty much being himself, which I love the character Dustin Rhodes. I wouldn't mind seeing that in WWE, but obviously, throughout the years, Goldust has always been very over with the WWE crowd.
And even
so, there's different.
If he returned as Goldust and we heard that Goldust song in WrestleMania, I think the crowd would go electric.
Maybe a Rumble. We can get that eventually.
I think if he had to do it, it would be WrestleMania. And he would be proud of his son.
I'd love to see him and Cody. Well, they're brothers.
But yeah, brothers. Son brothers. He's old enough to be.
But no, that's the thing. Like, I feel like Dustin, I'm glad that he's not hanging up the boots yet.
Nope.
Obviously, when you're that old and you're still able to put people over, you're still able to compete.
Oh,
I feel like
in the best shape.
I feel like when you're a talent and you love doing this, the best thing is when you're able to hang up the boots, when somebody else isn't giving you that option due to injury. So I love the fact that Dustin, he wrestles every match like it's his last.
Yeah,
similar to PCO
and when
TNA.
when he does retire, that last match, I wouldn't be surprised if he did go to WWE and his last match be
Is with
against
Cody. I could definitely see that. He's not going to end his career in AEW.
No.
But moving on now to our next weekly news and rumors topic. Matt Camp, who was the host of WWE The Bump, has been let go by WWE as of last week. What's your thoughts on this release?
I won't say much because I don't know the guy, and to be honest, I don't watch The Bump. I know it's still a thing because they've been having people on it, but I mean, if I just want to see who is in charge of it now, because if he,
I think it's Kayla Braxton, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, if it's her, good for her.
I don't really watch The Bump.
No one does, but
they actually do have a pretty solid fan base.
I mean, we don't know why he got released.
There's no reasons as of
So
right now.
I think that could be another answer to why, if I like this decision or not, if he did anything to make him get released. But there's not much I can say, and I can't agree or disagree if it's a good decision or not. And as long as they still have a lot of fan base with The Bump and keep going, I mean, I think they'll be just fine without him.
The thing is, I will say this because I have tuned in to some episodes of The Bump, especially Survivor Series that we were at in Boston. I think Matt Camp, he's a great personnel. He's a great host. I feel like he could have definitely transitioned into a bigger role in WWE. It's unfortunate that he got released. I think that he's going to be successful wherever he goes. Outside of wrestling or within wrestling, you never really know what's going to happen. But I was a fan of his work, and I do wish him nothing but the very best. The Bump, I will say, is going to be very weird without him.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's usually like that when someone leaves. It's weird. But
I'm very surprised by the release of him. I thought that he'd had a lot to give to WWE.
Yeah, and he was he was the first, host of The Bump? And
I believe so.
Yeah.
But we're just going to have to wait and see if more stuff comes out on that. AEW morels have really picked up as of late. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer stated that a couple of people have noted that the morels have really picked up and is the best in some time. Even if the ratings this week were universally disappointing for such a loaded show that was promoted as the biggest Dynamite of the year, which last week they drew 805,000 viewers. What's your thoughts on the morale getting better in AEW?
I'll let you go first on this one.
So, the first thing I do want to say before I give my thoughts on this is the reason I wanted to make this a topic was because a lot of these pro wrestling podcasters, journalists out there, they love to just talk about the negative. Whether it's AEW or WWE, a lot of the times when the other promotion doesn't have the momentum, it's always just negative news.
Yep.
And the reason why I want to shed some light on good news is because at the end of the day, as a wrestling podcaster myself, a maniac like you guys, I want all of these wrestling promotions to succeed because it gives us stuff to talk about every week here on the podcast. It gives us something to look forward to every week. Even if you like it or not, it's giving more professional wrestlers job opportunities. And especially during a boom period, it even helps the independent circuit out. So wrestling as a whole right now is striving, which is why I want to shed light on this. I'm happy that the morels have gotten better in AEW. I really think that Tony Khan just needs to just stay backstage, continue focusing on AEW,
Hire a
not
general manager.
Twitter, not other bullshit. Focus on AEW, focus on your talent, and focus on putting on good, consistent television every week. And I'm glad that the Morels people are all getting on the same page, because that's what we want. We want AEW to succeed. Because let's be real, WWE would not be where they're at right now if it wasn't for AEW Foreman.
I can agree with that.
Because competition brings out the best in
Yep.
everybody.
And I couldn't agree more with what you said. And if people are happy, then we should keep doing it. And that every company deserves no negativity, even these independents.
But here's the thing, though. I will say, us fans, us maniacs, we all have the right to critique
Oh, yeah.
WWE. We have the right to critique AEW. We have the right to have our own opinion and say it. But there's certain ways to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like with AEW, man, I am sick. I'm going to say this. I'm going to have a little pipe bomb right now. I am sick and tired of seeing these tweets of empty seats. I'm tired of seeing just negative bullshit with AEW. Even when they're putting like all in, they had a great show from start to finish. But all everybody could talk about was Jungle Bitch and CM Punk.
Yeah. And like,
How is that fair?
like, yeah, people, they might have empty seats. I mean, look where we're living today. Everything is expensive. And if they decide to stay home and watch it on TV, they're still there. Like, they're still watching it.
Well, I think that they should be in smaller venues.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? If you enjoy
one.
AEW, enjoy AEW. If you don't like AEW, okay. You don't like AEW, but why every week do we have to get the same pictures? And it's not even during the show. It's
the
during
same-
a pre-show,
I know.
Cam.
And
During a
it's-
pre-show.
It's the same for Raw or for WWE too.
When people are literally
Not even
outside
there.
of the arena, getting their food, getting their concessions, getting their merchandise, that's when they're doing these recordings. They're doing them during Ring of Honor tapings, which is pretty much WWE's main event, or WWE
and like,
Superstars.
And yeah, some people might show like the two superstars that are in the main event, and then, but you have to realize where the camera section, that's all blocked off.
Well, WWE, they do fill it up a little bit more,
Yeah,
but
but-
exactly, people don't understand that.
There's blocked off sections, and like yeah, people might leave for the main event, even though like because they want to miss the traffic and stuff. But who cares if there's a whole row of empty seats or a whole section of empty seats? I mean, people buy tickets just to try and resell them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I still have my feelings about them being in bigger arenas like that.
oh yeah, AEW. I think
They
they should.
have to figure out
Yes.
that, because I'm sorry, but it does not look good
It
when
doesn't.
they're doing this.
But they shouldn't criticize. Oh, there's empty seats. Yeah, there's empty seats. Like,
But that's the thing, like,
there's concerts
I
that have
really
empty seats.
don't. That's the thing, like, if you're listening to this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast, please comment down below. If you're not a fan of AEW, please tell me why you want them to go out of business, why you want to continue this negativity. I don't understand it. I'm open to hearing some of these people out. I'm just getting fed up with it, so hearing that the morale is getting better is a good thing as a whole for the wrestling business, and I really hope
100%.
that they continue to pick up that momentum.
100%.
But up next, we have the main event topic. We'll be right back with more We Are Wrestling Podcast 95.
What's crackin' everybody? WWE Hall of Famer, The Godfather here, and you're listening to, that's right, you are listening to We Are Wrestling Podcast. Check them out, man. Stay on that smoke train.
Saturday, March 23rd, both Captain's Corner and Zombie Hideout are putting together the Wrestling Classic 4 in Springfield, Mass. You can get the opportunity to meet WWE Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff, Elias, Matt Riddle, the franchise Shane Douglas, The Sandman, Diva Search winner Christy Hemme, Hornswoggle, and so many more wrestlers. We Are Wrestling will be in the house as a vendor at this event, selling t-shirts, meeting our fans, vlogging and having a good time on Saturday, March 23rd at the South End Community Center in Springfield, Mass. We hope to see you there at the Wrestling Classic 4. We're back, and before we get into our main event topic for this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast, just want to let all you guys know that Saturday, March 24th, We Are Wrestling will be at the Wrestling Classic 4. It's going to be one of the biggest wrestling conventions in the Western Mass area. Lots of wrestlers that you can get the opportunity to meet, and We Are Wrestling will be vlogging, and we'll be having a table with our merchandise, and I will be selling some wrestling figures as well for very good prices. So guys, if you're in the Western Mass area, March 24th, come out to the Wrestling Classic 4. It's going to be a great event, and if you guys don't believe me, recommend you to go to the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel and check out the Wrestling Classic 1, 2, and 3 vlogs. So now, Cam, with that being said, let's dive into the main event topic for the We Are Wrestling podcast, episode 95. And our main event topic for this week, Stone Cold Steve Austin isn't ruling out one more match. During an interview this past week with ESPN, Austin was asked about potentially stepping foot back in a wrestling ring. He said, "I said I'd never get in the ring again unless all the stars aligned," Austin said, and for some reason, somehow, they all did. "And at the age of 57, I headlined the first night of WrestleMania. I never thought I'd do that. If you had told me that when I retired in 2003, I have said, you're crazy. So I'm not going to sit here and say no to anything because you never say never in this crazy business of sports entertainment." Then they started discussing Punk's WWE return, and Austin said a potential match would be a good one before continuing. "I like Punk, and I think Punk likes me, so as long as he could take a Stone Cold Stunner, I consider him a great friend, a great guy, and a great wrestler who had a great career. We'll see." Would you like to see this dream match happen at some point?
I'm going to keep it
Austin versus Punk.
I'm going to keep it real simple. And Austin looks like he's in one of the best shapes in his life. He's still got it after main eventing that Mania, and I could see this match, and I think it's going to happen.
You think we're going to get a CM Punk versus Austin?
I think even if it's not WrestleMania, this match will happen.
Yeah, because a lot of people have been very excited about this dream match because during one of the WWE 13 THQ events, Punk and Stone Cold kind of teased that they would have like this match at some point, but obviously we know CM Punk, he left WWE in 2014, he was burnt out, wasn't happy, and now that he's back, and Stone Cold technically came back for that one-off with Kevin Owens, this could be a real potential thing that could happen. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Oh, no.
Because obviously Punk is sidelined, and Stone Cold, obviously, he wants to wait for the right time. But if there is anybody that's going to face Stone Cold, it's got to be CM Punk.
Oh, yeah, 100%, and this match will happen. That's the final answer, and that's all I have to say to that. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and man, they've been teasing it for years. I remember 2011 when Stone Cold was, I believe, he was like a guest general manager or something, him and CM Punk backstage, and then even CM Punk's Pike Bomb, he wore a Stone Cold shirt during it, and they've teased it at conventions. Now this is just, man, I want this to happen. This right here,
Yes.
I don't care that this is 10 years, 20 years too late. I want this match to happen. And I think that
It will.
this is a real possibility that we can get something like this. But is there anything else, Cam, before we close off this week's episode?
Not much. I mean, I loved being here for this episode. I mean, I've missed this. I'm like CM Punk. I've missed it.
So guys, in case you didn't know, because obviously some of our really older episodes from like 2021, 2020 are not on YouTube at all anymore. Cam was my co-host for a pretty long time.
Yes.
So this is really cool to have you here, just you and I, just like old times, for this special episode, because we're 5 episodes away from We Are Wrestling 100, and I know me and the Load Rager, we have been talking, we do want to get some guests, so Cam, we might have to have you come back in 5 weeks.
I'm not even a guest, I'm an OG, I'm like a legend.
You're a legend.
I'm a legend.
Maybe a future We Are Wrestling Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'll be the first one to be in the Real Wrestling Hall of Fame. But like when he asked me to do this, I was contemplating because I am busy today and I am getting a lot of text messages, but I still was able to do this, and now I'll get the lecture when I go home and see the girl. She'll lecture me on why I'm not. I said like 5:30, but it's already like 6:40. But I had to do it, and it's been an honor to be on here, and this won't be the last time you'll see me on this.
And man, I appreciate having you here. Unfortunately, guys, Ben couldn't make it for this week's episode. He has a lot of things going on this week, but things will get back to normal next week. Plus, this was a great way to test out the microphones as well for We Are Wrestling 100. So hopefully the audio is good here, because can't fix it now. So guys, let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on all the topics that we covered this week. If you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode. But if you haven't checked out the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, we got lots of awesome original content over there, reactions, we do pay-per-view predictions, live watch-alongs, hot takes. We Are Wrestling Old School versus New School once a month. So much wrestling content. Subscribe, turn on the post notifications. Even the video version of the podcast is up on there every Saturday. But for today, it's on a Friday. Links down in the description below. You can go follow myself and Cam over on our social medias, and my other YouTube channel, Best One Donnie, where I'm doing toy videos. Cam, he does appear on a lot of those toy hunts and stuff. So all the links down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.